My son looked at me, laughed, and said in front of everyone, "Mom, stop pretending to be a businesswoman." The room chuckled. Investors smirked. His wife covered her mouth to hide her smile. No one knew the truth. No one knew that the woman they were mocking owned more than half of everything in that room. And that moment was the day my son learned what betrayal really costs. I wasn't born rich. I wasn't handed success. I was a single mother, raising my son after his father walked out with nothing but excuses. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I skipped meals so he could eat. Wore the same coat for years so he could have new shoes. At night, after putting him to sleep, I studied business books, finance, contracts, investments. I didn't chase luxury. I chased security. Everything I built for him. Years later, I started investing quietly, small amounts, smart decisions. I partnered with people who underestimated me, and I let them. While they talked loud, I read every line of every document. The company grew. My shares grew. My influence grew. But my son? He only saw himself rising. He told people, "My mother doesn't understand business. She's just supportive." I stayed silent, because mothers do that. Then came the meeting. A major expansion, new investors, big money on the table. My son was presenting, confident, arrogant. Someone asked, "Who's overseeing ownership structure?" He waved his hand toward me and said, "Ignore her. She likes to pretend she's a businesswoman." Laughter filled the room. His wife added, "She just signs papers when needed." That laugh cut deeper than any insult I'd ever heard, not because strangers laughed, but because my son led them. I looked at him, the boy I held when he cried at night, the boy I believed would respect me, and I realized something painful. He didn't just forget my sacrifices. He rewrote them. In his story, I was irrelevant. That's when I stopped protecting his ego. I stood up, calm, steady. I opened my folder and said, "I think it's time we clarify ownership." The room went silent. I slid the documents across the table. Majority shareholder, my name. Net control 120 million. One investor whispered, "She owns the company." My son's face drained of color. For the first time in his life, he was looking at me, not as his mother, but as his boss. The meeting ended differently than he planned. Leadership changed. Authority shifted. I didn't fire him. That would have been easy. I did something harder. I made him earn respect, the same way I did. No shortcuts. No titles handed down. Just accountability. Betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the child you gave everything to. But remember this. Silence doesn't mean weakness, and humility doesn't mean ignorance. Because one day, truth will walk into the room. And when it does, it always sits at the head of the table.